Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I'm Jaime Esparza, United States Attorney for the Western District of Texas. And just on a side, this is my first press conference, and it's a pleasure to see so many of you here, so thank you for coming. I'm joined today by Assistant Attorney General Kenneth Polite here to my left, and Ian, Hannah, and James Hepburn, co-directors of the Department of Justice's Joint Task Force Alpha. Where are they? Right here on the far right. And Special Agent in Charge, Craig Larrabee, for the Homeland Security Investigations, the San Antonio Division here to my right. As well as law enforcement partners, our law enforcement partners from the FBI, ATF, the San Antonio Police Department, and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. I'm also joined by one of the prosecutors on this case who are handling this case, Eric Fuchs, and Eric is right here to my right. Today marks a 1 year since human smuggling operation claimed the lives of 53 men, women, and children, and injured 11. On that day, the tractor trailer carrying at least 66 migrants, including 8 children and a pregnant woman, was located in San Antonio after it had made the 3-hour drive from Laredo. 2 people were arrested at that time for their involvement. Homero Zambrano, Jr. of Elkhart, Texas, and Christian Martinez of Palestine, Texas. They are currently scheduled to begin trial on September 11th. Still, the investigation into this smuggling operation has continued. Yesterday, 4 Mexican nationals were arrested in connection with this case. Riley Covarrubias Ponce, Felipe Orduna Torres, Luis Alberto Rivera Leal, and Armando Gonzalez Ortega. All are alleged to have participated in the human smuggling organization which illegally brought men, women, and children from Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico into the United States between December 2021 and June 2022. As alleged in the superseding indictment returned by the grand jury on June 7th this month, these individuals worked together to transport, facilitate the transportation of the migrants using each other's routes, their stash houses, their trucks, and other resources in order to consolidate their cost, minimize their risk, and maximize their profit. They are alleged to have orchestrated the retrieval of the empty tractor trailer as well as hand off the tractor trailer, to Zambrano, the driver. According to the superseding indictment, some of these defendants did this even while knowing that the air conditioning unit in that tractor trailer was not working and therefore would not provide cool air to the people inside. The indictment alleges, and the evidence will show, that as temperatures rose inside the trailer, the people trapped inside screamed and banged on the walls for help. Some passed out. Others clawed at the sides of the trailer, attempting to escape. The allegations in this indictment are horrifying. Dozens of desperate, vulnerable men, women, and children put their trust in smugglers who abandoned them in the locked trailer to perish in the merciless Texas heat. Charged with 4 counts, each of these defendants in the case face a maximum penalty of life in prison. The investigation of this horrifying event was handled primarily by Homeland Security Investigations, the San Antonio Division. I'm very grateful for their hard work and for their continued efforts to identify and bring to justice those who perpetrated this terrible crime. I'm also grateful to those who assisted HSI throughout this investigation, the FBI, ATF, and Laredo Border Patrol. I also want to recognize the tremendous support and the excellent work of the San Antonio Police Department and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Because of these agencies, along with other supporting federal and local law enforcement agencies, we are one step closer to delivering justice for those migrants and their families. I also appreciate the U.S. Attorney's offices of the Southern District of Texas and the Eastern District of Texas for their assistance with apprehending the defendants who were at large. Finally, thank you to Catholic Charities USA for the help they have provided to the migrants and their families during this difficult time. This prosecution is a high priority for the Department of Justice. It has committed substantial resources to this case. The presence of Assistant Attorney General Kenneth Polite here demonstrates the commitment of the Department of Justice on their continued effort into this case. The Department of Justice has provided significant assistance, but they have especially provided assistance through Joint Task Force Alpha, including coordinating and collaborating with the countries that these migrants came from. It is a privilege now for me to introduce Assistant Attorney Kenneth Polite, who will tell you more about Joint Task Force Alpha and the work that they were doing, and how Joint Task Force Alpha was instrumental in the arrest.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Esparza, and thank you to your office for opening its doors to us for this important event. It is truly an honor to be here with you today. The victims of this human smuggling operation died under horrific circumstances, underscoring the callous disregard smuggling organizations such as this one show for human life. 53 people, including 8 children, lost their lives in this tragic incident exactly 1 year ago today. 53 lives. You heard our U.S. Attorney describe some of the conditions in that vehicle, but it bears repeating. It bears remembering. As alleged, these smugglers' knowledge in their criminal acts led to dangerous temperatures in that vehicle. And as those temperatures rose, those people banged, and they scratched, and they clawed, and they yelled out for their humanity. 53 lives lost. It is my prayer that this superseding indictment in the arrest of these 4 additional defendants will provide some measure of justice for the men, women, and children who suffered as a result of this terrible tragedy. Thanks in no small part to the dedication of all of our partners assembled here on stage, most especially our U.S. Attorney's Office here in the Western District of Texas, led by my brother, U.S. Attorney Esparza, and the dedicated agents of Homeland Security Investigations in close coordination with our Attorney General's Human Smuggling and Trafficking Task Force, Joint Task Force Alpha. Now, as head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division, I have been honored to oversee Task Force Alpha and its work, and I am immensely proud of the leadership of prosecutors from our Human Rights and Special Prosecution Section and from the U.S. Attorney's Office here in the Western District of Texas in this important initiative. This is a catastrophic incident. It resulted in the loss of lives. That loss epitomizes why we created Joint Task Force Alpha in the very first place, to dismantle the international networks responsible for outright dangerous human smuggling activities that exploit migrants. Joint Task Force Alpha is a model of how we can leverage collaboration among our law enforcement partners here in the United States and in the Northern Triangle countries and in Mexico to tackle these criminal networks that prey upon vulnerable and often desperate people solely for profit. Now, since its creation by Attorney General Merrick Garland in June 2021, Joint Task Force Alpha has tirelessly pursued significant enforcement actions, including nearly 200 domestic and international arrests, over 80 convictions, significant jail sentences, and substantial seizures and forfeiture of assets and contraband, including hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, property, vehicles, firearms, ammunition, drugs. I'm immensely grateful again, to our law enforcement partners who built this investigation. Homeland Security Investigations, along with U.S. Customs and Border Protection's National Targeting Center, U.S. Border Patrol, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the San Antonio Police Department, and the Palestine Police Department. And I want to thank our JTFA partners in the Northern Triangle countries and in Mexico for their important assistance in this case as well. Rest assured that Joint Task Force Alpha will continue to relentlessly pursue criminal organizations engaged in human smuggling. Our message to these smugglers remains constant. When you put people's lives at risk, when you ignore the screams of humanity of others solely for profit, we will bring you and the members of your organization to justice wherever you may operate. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Special Agent in Charge, Craig Larrabee.
Thank you, United States Attorney Esparza and Assistant Attorney General Polite, for announcing today's arrests of these additional suspects connected with the country's deadliest human smuggling event that claimed the lives of 53 individuals. My name is Craig Larrabee. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for Homeland Security Investigations in San Antonio. HSI is the investigative branch of the Department of Homeland Security responsible for investigating a multitude of cross-border crimes, including human smuggling. 1 year ago today, HSI special agents joined members of the San Antonio Police Department, emergency medical services, and other public safety personnel in responding to this tragic event. At the scene, agents and officers discovered multiple deceased and incapacitated people on the ground and inside a trailer. Heroic efforts by the first responders and EMS personnel saved several lives that evening. As many of you know, thousands of undocumented non-citizens from all over the world pay human smuggling organizations to transport them into the United States. This particular case ended in tragedy. These people lost their lives because they were trapped in the back of a tractor trailer in sweltering Texas heat with no access to water or fresh air. Their journey took them along a smuggling corridor that involved a network of foot guides, money couriers, drivers through Central America, Mexico, and United States. And they all died under truly appalling conditions that underscore the dangers that human smugglers expose migrants to every day. This case illustrates how callous human smugglers can be and what they're willing to do to turn a profit, even when it means costing people their lives. HSI takes an aggressive stance against human smuggling, working with local, state, and federal partners, as well with international partners in various nations all over the world. In this particular case, HSI agents from San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and Laredo, and including our attaché offices in Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras, works with the U.S. Border Patrol, enforcement and removal operations, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the FBI, the San Antonio Police Department, Palestine Police Department, Bexar County Sheriff's Office, Joint Task Force Alpha, and the U.S. Attorney's Office here in the Western District of Texas. To ensure justice for the deceased, the injured, and their families, HSI will continue to follow up on all leads and furtherance of this investigation and will remain dedicated to identifying, disrupting, and dismantling all transnational criminal organizations that smuggle people into and throughout the United States. In closing, I would like to warn anyone who is considering having a loved one smuggled into the United States. These organizations exist for one reason alone, to generate profit. If you enter an agreement with a human smuggler, your loved one will not be treated with respect. They will simply be seen as a commodity and will be placed in extreme danger. Thank you.
We'd be happy to take a handful of questions. Someone have a question? Yes, ma'am. It is an ongoing investigation. The case is pending in federal court now. So what I can tell you is that we have arrested these 4 as of yesterday. There were 2 arrested initially, and we're moving forward at the moment. We are not at the moment discussing anything beyond that because of the pending investigation.
Tell us what the 4 that were arrested yesterday, if they were arrested in the U.S., if they were arrested in Mexico, and what they're potentially charged with.
3 were arrested here in the district, and they were arraigned today at 1:30. There's 1 who was arrested in the Eastern District of Texas, and he will be arraigned tomorrow at 3.
Are you able to say the charges?
Yes, yeah. I can tell you that, hang on. Conspiracy to transport illegal aliens resulting in death. Another count of conspiracy to transport illegal aliens resulting in serious bodily injury and placing lives in jeopardy. And transportation of illegal aliens resulting in death. And transportation of illegal aliens resulting in serious bodily injury and placing lives in jeopardy. All 4.
Fiscal Esparza,
Yes.
¿cuántos más fueron arrestados? ¿Dónde y cuáles son los cargos?
Okay. Me permite, por ahorita vamos a hablar en inglés, pero cuando terminamos aquí podemos hablar de parte. Is that okay? Yes? Sorry.
U.S. Attorney, or Attorney General,
Yes.
I want to make sure I get your last
You got it.
You mentioned going after network organizations,
Yes.
criminal organizations that are looking to prey on these migrants. Have you been able to connect any of these men with cartel organizations that we know are all along our border?
As our U.S. Attorney referenced, our investigation is ongoing, so I'm not going to speak to details of this particular case and any connectivity there. But I would confidently say that we have certainly seen some connectivity of transnational organizations that are engaged in a plethora, a wide range of criminality, including human smuggling, narcotics trafficking, and the like, and how that criminality fuels one another.
And either you or Mr. Scott, I believe you talked a little bit about are any of these men cooperating with you at this time to give more detail into how this whole transaction happened.
You know I'm not at liberty to answer that question. Our investigation is ongoing.
I have the very same answer. I think the best way to describe it is, have you had a copy, did you get a copy of the superseding indictment? Okay, it's available, and I think that would be the best way for me to accurately describe to you in some detail what we allege and what we believed occurred.
Without actually having been reading the indictment,
Mhm.
can you just give us a sense, and then follow up with this question, are these drivers, how deep does this go?
There is a driver, and there are coordinators. And between the 4 of them, between the 6 of them, this crime was committed. The indictment, just so I'm clear, says in more detail exactly the involvement of all 4 of them.
And so these 4 individuals had specific knowledge about this particular semi, and these people that got in this semi.
The superseding indictment describes that, but the answer to your question is yes.
Last question. Those indictments, do you have copies of them here, or are they in case?
They are, okay. All right? Yes.
Si me puedes
In-
decir en español, ¿cuántos arrestos, dónde fueron arrestados y qué cargos enfrentan?
4 ayer estaban arrestados. Los 4 estaban arrestados en los Estados Unidos. ¿Y qué era los cargos? Para traducir los cargos, tenemos a alguien que puede traducir. Ya lo contesté, pero lo voy a dar otra vez. Conspiracy to transport illegal aliens resulting in death. Conspiracy to transport illegal aliens resulting in serious bodily injury and placing lives in jeopardy. Transportation of illegal aliens resulting in death. And transportation of illegal aliens resulting in serious bodily injury and placing lives in jeopardy. Okay? If I could take your question on the side, we'd be happy to answer your question. All right? Thank you very much. We'll take care of that.